Okay, everyone, we are now live. Welcome to the June 23rd Police Services Board meeting for the Township of Georgian Bluffs. Before I turn it over to the mayor to call the meeting to order, I just wanted to go over a couple of procedural things for our members. As this is a virtual meeting, all votes are now recorded votes. So when I call your name, please indicate whether you are for or against the motion being presented. Following or prior to discussion on a motion, the mayor will call for a mover and a seconder on each motion. You are able to do so by raising your hand. I would encourage you to use this feature to both move and second motions, as well as indicate your wish to make a comment. Those of you using an iPad, this feature is available to you using the 3 dots on your main toolbar. Otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to do so through the chair. Mr. Mayor, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Welcome, everybody. I would like to call this meeting to order. Brittany, would you take the roll call, please?
Okay, so when I call your name, please indicate you are present for the record. Member Hughes, sorry.
Present.
And Member Hatt.
Present.
And Mayor Dwight-Burley.
Or here, present.
Thank you. All members are present.
First meeting. Approval of the agenda. That the agenda be approved as presented. Do I have someone to move the motion, please?
I move the motion. I'll second it.
Moved by Barry, second by Peter. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brittany, we take the vote, please.
Okay, when I call your name, please indicate whether you are for or against adoption of the agenda as presented. Member Hughes?
In favor.
Member Hatt?
For.
And Mayor Dwight-Burley?
In favor.
Thank you, and that carries.
Declaration of pecuniary interest, you can declare anytime you see fit during the meeting. Minutes of the previous meeting. I have a recommendation that the minutes of the board meeting held on February 11th, 2020 be adopted. Do a mover to put on the floor, please?
I'll move that recommendation, Dwight.
Moved by Peter, second by Barry. Is there any discussion on the minutes or the motion before us? Seeing none, was there any discussion?
I just wanted to know on the previous the machine that we were purchasing for speed control is, can you update us on that?
I can't, but I'm quite sure that Jennifer or Terry can.
Yes, I can. So we are in receipt of it and we have been using it. And in fact, I believe it's out right now being used. So it's been a very helpful piece of equipment for us.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. If there's no other questions on the motion before us, Brittany, you take the vote, please.
Okay, when I call your name, please indicate whether you are for or against adoption of the February 11th board minutes. Member Hatt?
For.
Member Hughes?
For.
And Mayor Dwight-Burley?
For.
Thank you, and that carries.
Thank you. We've no presentations today, no delegations, public question period. Brittany, was there any questions come in from the public?
We did not receive any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We're down to correspondence. West Street speeding concerns. I believe I had sent that to Terry to look after, and he did look after it. Terry, I assume you're there.
Mayor Burley, I can actually speak to that.
Go ahead,
we did receive the correspondence, and as a result, for 2 weeks at the end of May and early June, we set up a focused patrol on West Street. Our officers conducted 19.5 hours of directed patrol in that area to monitor the speed. There were 6 speeding charges laid and 3 provincial offense warnings. So we are continuing to monitor it. That focus patrol ended on the 15th of June, but we'll continue to monitor it. But we did spend some time focused in on that area.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any questions from the board members on that correspondence? Peter?
And I just want to thank the board for forwarding that. And if you have anything like that, please don't hesitate, because that helps us to see where an issue is, and then we can go out and do that type of enforcement.
Thanks, Jennifer. Seeing none, that will be just for information then. So we'll move on for our agenda, reports and recommendations. Recommendation that the detachment commander's report for January 2020 to March 2020 be received for information. Do someone to move, put it on the floor, please.
I'll move that recommendation that the commander's report be accepted.
Moved by Peter, second by Barry.
Yes.
Is there any commander you want to speak to this report?
I can just go through and highlight a couple of areas, and certainly if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. You'll note that there was a media release in February for a drug warrant that was executed in Georgian Bluffs, and that was successful. We had, if you look further into our billing summary, you'll see trafficking in cocaine, 37 hours attributed to that. And you'll see that we had 2 auxiliary members that were set to graduate in April. Obviously, our auxiliary program was put on hold because of COVID, but we're looking forward to getting that up and going again. And the other thing that I wanted to mention that just sort of leapt out at me on the billing summary was in the area of operational. There was quite a jump there from 216 hours to 327. And when I had a look, most of those hours, there was actually an increase by about 60 hours in the area of animal type calls for service. I suspected those might be rabid raccoons, something of that nature. But when I drilled down on the occurrences, it turned out that we had a lot of livestock that were running loose in January and February for some reason. You name it, we had it. And we had a number of occurrences with cows and sheep and pigs running at large. So that's really the only area that sort of leapt out at me there that I thought might be a question because it had gone up so much. But if there's any other questions about that report, I'm certainly happy to answer them now.
Thank you, Jennifer. Does the board have any questions on the report?
I have one question for Jennifer. Just in the area of your recruitment, I was just wondering, are you really, like you just mentioned that you've had to suspend the auxiliary program, the COVID situation is better. Are there concerns for the Georgian Bluff area for police recruitment in general in this area, with all the pressures under the programs we're facing right now in police work?
No, I can tell you that you may have seen on social media that we have 4 new constables that just recently started in Grey Bruce. And we've had biographies of those members on a weekly basis every Tuesday. And those are, most of them are local individuals who grew up in the area or have moved to the area. And we have 6 recruits that just started at the Ontario Police College this month. And as you can imagine, their training is going to look a little bit different because of COVID. They'll be going to college 6 days a week, and they'll be sequestered together and practicing social distancing, etc. So we're not entirely sure when their graduation date is going to be because COVID has changed things, but we are anticipating 6 additional recruits coming sometime in the fall. So the OPP continues to recruit, and there was a delay. The police college was shut down for a couple of months, but now it's back up and running. So I'm not anticipating any issues there.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there any other questions? See none. Good report, Jennifer. If there's no other questions on the report, Brittany, will you take the vote, please?
Okay, when I call your name, please indicate whether you are for or against adoption of the detachment commander's report. Member Hughes?
In favor.
Member Hatt?
In favor.
And Mayor Dwight-Burley?
In favor.
Thank you, and that carries.
Thank you. So moving on with our agenda, we're down to unfinished business. I think I'll bring it up now. Jennifer, I sent an email to Terry, and he did respond to me. Thank you. And it seems to be a constant issue we have at Cobble Beach, and very, very hard for OPP to try and deal with it, with the layout of the property, I would think. Is there any updates on that area at all?
So I can tell you that, or Terry, did you want to speak to it? Sorry, I think I cut you off.
It looks like Terry's having some technical difficulties. Okay. I'm just kind of emailing back and forth with him to get it figured out.
Okay, fair enough. So I can tell you that we did have Sergeant Nigel Heels, who is our administrative sergeant, reach out to the roads department to determine which one of those roads actually fall within our jurisdiction and what's private property, etc. And so now that we have some clarity on that issue, that's been messaged out to our officers. And now we're doing some targeted enforcement in that area because we know that there have been issues. And so our sergeants at shift briefing are reminding members, and the zone officer is getting out there and doing some enforcement. So hopefully at the next meeting, I'll be able to provide you with some results of that enforcement.
Thanks, Jennifer. Just to follow up with that, it's the same issue along that very stretch of road. Where the main entrance comes out in front of the Cranny Farm, there's a few more golfers in there now, and the same occurrence is coming is people are not stopping for the stop sign.
Yeah.
And there's, I just totally amazed why there has not been a real serious accident there for that reason. And I think they put up a bigger stop sign there, a couple of beach has, but it just doesn't seem to want to fit into the people when they're, I guess, coming back from golfing or whatever. They just run to the stop sign, and sooner or later,
yeah,
get a real serious accident there.
Absolutely, yeah.
I one other issue. Again, I had forwarded to Terry. Not leaving you out of the whole stream, Jennifer. I have Terry's email in. It's very easy to flip it off to him, so that's the only reason why I did it. I had a call from a gentleman up on the 21st, where it goes into Wyerton to Elm Street, and we did reduce the speed limit to 60. And it was before the long weekend. I did not bother you people with it because I thought you had many things on your plate on a long weekend, but this particular gentleman wanted to have someone in that area between 4 and 6 because of speeders, and they're using for a shortcut bypass in Barton. I've been up to that area quite a bit myself and never really seen too much of that occurring, but it's just something maybe if you do have a presence up in that area sometime, it wouldn't hurt to look at it.
So that's actually where the Speed Spy comes in very handy, because we can install that device and we can monitor it, and then we can see if it's a perception issue or if it really is an issue. And it also tells us what time of the day the issue is, if in fact there's an issue. So it's a great piece of technology for that, because sometimes it's perception and sometimes it's just certain times of the day. So I will just touch base with the officer who installs the Speed Spy and make sure that we install it there and get some data, and then we can take the appropriate enforcement measures there.
Thank you. We did reduce that speed limit from the Zion Church corner into Wharton to 60, and it seems to appear going up through there, everybody seems to be following it. But in one particular gentleman, wouldn't hurt to just check it out.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
I know there's a lot.
Dwight, I was going to make a comment about your about the stop sign. I did mention as you leave Cobble and go on to Grey Road 1. I did mention, I think about it maybe a year ago or so. Could we explore through the county, and I don't know that it would have to come from council versus the police service board, probably have to come from council, about possibly getting a permanent flashing red and amber light, and I don't know who would share in the cost of that. The development would probably have to, and as would, I don't know whether the township. Can you shed any light on that, or would you see that as even being helpful? It is quite a long stretch there, and a light flashing would, I think, would help to a certain degree of a major intersection that's only going to get busier, and possibly they'll have to have stoplights in there someday.
Well, Peter, I don't want to see stoplights in that particular corner myself, entrance, but I'm not a traffic expert, so I do not know if flashing light would work. I do know that there's only a few that do abuse the stop sign, and if there's some way we could, catching 1 or 2 people makes a pretty big example, and it sort of fits in everybody's mind, well, we better stop at the stop sign. So
Yeah.
I don't know where that's at now. That is a county road. I would think would have to go to county. Amory, what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, if it's a county road, there would have to be something to county council, definitely, about that. Or it maybe could start with the director of transportation.
Yes.
Because I know that sometimes they put in plans for where they are going to put in different lights and so maybe it could start there with a letter to or an email to Director of Transportation Pat Hoy.
I certainly support something like that, Dwight. Would it have to come from the Police Service Board first, or would you see it better coming from council? I don't know the protocols there.
Go ahead, Emery.
Sorry.
If it's okay, that's okay. If it's a recommendation from Police Services Board, then certainly I can't see us reaching out with an email to start off to begin with. And then if it needs to go back through council, we could bring it through council as staff.
I see it, Dwight, more as just drawing attention to that corner versus that the flashing red light's going to make all people stop. No, it's not. It's just I foresee the volume only getting bigger there with development growing. And I agree with you right now. I wouldn't want to see a stoplight, but that's all determined, I'm sure, by the MTO and the county and their studies.
You're 100% correct on that, Peter. There had been a wee bit of a problem with the construction on the new roads there with really the very bottom of the hill was their entrance coming out onto the county road. It was a problem there with a lot of the construction guys and equipment coming out, not stopping, but no one's ever had an accident or anything, and now that construction is over now, basically, so that problem has gone away.
Yeah. So my whole idea behind that, making a recommendation would be just drawing attention to that entrance, and a flashing light, I can't see that could hurt. I think it would be a good thing because that's a long stretch of road.
You're 100% correct, and that's right with the speed limit changes too to 80.
Yeah.
Amory, could I leave it with you and Brittany to come up with a letter, recommendation coming from the board, and I'll sign the letter and we can send it around to the county and see what happens?
Brittany, do you need anything more to proceed with that?
So I guess I'm just looking for some clarification from the board. Are you looking for a formal motion passed by the Police Services Board to be sent to the county, or are you simply looking to have correspondence drawn up drawing attention to potential issues at this corner?
I would think that if it was just a letter of some form pointing out the issue and the concern from the Police Service Board at this time, and send it off to the county to get their recommendation back to us, and as Anne-Marie says, maybe we would have to go from the Police Service Board to George Bluffs Council, then back to Great County. I don't know, but at least from now we can make them aware of a potential problem from the Police Service Board back to the county. Then they would go to Pat Hoy.
Okay, yeah, we can draw up some correspondence then.
If you could draw it up from the Police Service Board, and I would sign the letter and pass it on.
Okay.
Is that acceptable to the board?
Yeah. Could I make a suggestion? What about before you come to the stop sign, have a sign saying "stop ahead"? Would that slow them down?
I don't know, Barry. I think Cobble Beach and their staff, I think they've been bending over backwards trying to deal with this issue, and they've even had security people there sitting and watching and so on. And since it's a missable road now, it's under the jurisdiction of the OPP. Is that right, Jennifer?
That is correct.
And I just think we're sure we're trying to deal with the issue, and what happens from there once they get this letter, I don't know. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe some good recommendation will come out of it, and it could very well get to the point where we're going to have flashing light or whatever. I don't know. But I think Pat Hoy, the Director of Transportation, he's well aware of the road, the issue, and so on. He'd be a great person to start dealing with it. Okay. I have no other issues to bring up under unfinished business. Down to new business. Does anyone have anything to bring up under new business? Did we ever get Terry on, or is he gone?
No, I'm in. I finally got in.
Welcome, Terry. I'm just ready to adjourn the meeting, so I want to make sure you're there first.
Yeah, that's a good time to show up then.
Well, if we've no other new business, I must just curious, Jennifer and Terry. It seems to be a lot of police presence on Gray Road 1 today. Is that just your normal duties in that area, or is there something going on?
Just our normal duties.
You're doing a good job because you're almost caught.
Thank you. Thank you. And don't speed.
Well, if we no other business here today, then I need a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just interject for a second, please.
Certainly.
At this moment, our next meeting of the Police Services Board is August 4th at 3:30. Is that still susceptible to the board, or would you like to take it by year and see where we are with virtual meetings at that point?
Well, I can, doesn't matter to me. I can do it from my cottage because that's where I'll be.
Maybe we could have the meeting up at your cottage, Barry.
You could, but I don't think so this time.
Well, Brittany, let's set the date as August 4th, or to call the chair, and then if we need to make a change or anything, we can make that change and notify everybody. Is
Okay,
that
thank you.
So August the 4th.
You want to bump the time ahead if there's nothing else on the agendas that day, Dwight, or you wait and see, or?
I think we'll just wait and see, and
Okay, and then we can watch for Brittany's notices, and we'll know when to, and we'll know the format.
Yep.
August the 4th, 3 o'clock.
3:30, as she said.
Okay. Cutting into half the hour, but I can handle it.
Okay, do I have a mover to adjourn, please? Moved by Peter, second by Barry. If there's no other discussion, Brittany, will you take the vote, please?
Okay, all those in favor of adjournment at 1:22 p.m. Member Pugh,
In favor?
Member Hatt,
In favor?
and Mayor Dwight Burley.
Favor.
Thank you. We are now adjourned.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Bye, gentlemen. Take
Thanks,
care.
Dwight.
Bye.
Thank you.
Catch you later.